We're back with a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks on this Memorial Day. It's Monday, May the 29th, and what a stretch of dry weather we are in that is not going to let up anytime real soon. We'll dive into all the rain, or lack thereof, numbers in this video. Hope you and yours had an enjoyable weekend, and the weather certainly cooperated for Memorial Day activities today, parades and whatnot. It was hot out there this afternoon, but the sun was shining. And actually today at the airport, the hottest day of 2023 so far. It was not the hottest Memorial Day on record. That was 92 back in 2018. But today, well above the average at 87 degrees for the daytime high. Our previous high water mark in 2023 was 86 on a day back in late April. A seasonable 52 at the start, and of course, nothing in the rain gauge today, and nothing is coming over the next few days. At the airport, we are running now 2.18 inches behind average for the month of May, and this will go into the record books as the driest May since 1993, and the sixth driest May on record for our area. When we look back over the last 7 days, hardly a drop of rain in the entire state of Ohio, and just about the entire state of Pennsylvania, with the exception of some places in eastern PA. When we look back over the last 2 weeks and zoom into our local area, the driest areas going back to about May 15th, generally north and west of Youngstown, where amounts have been under a half an inch. We did pick up a half an inch or more in many places around Youngstown and points to the south and to the east. But a lot of that was about 9 or 10 days ago. Of course, we've had pretty much nothing over the last week. And for the season now, we're running up a deficit of about 1.5 inches. The monthly departure from average, again, over 2 inches. But for the season, 1.46 is where we stand. And as of today, we are now running a deficit for the year. We've been running a precipitation surplus every day until today. And with today's goose egg, we dropped a little bit behind average for the year. We get an update from the U.S. Drought Monitor every Thursday, and this was last Thursday's update, so this is a few days old. It showed nothing in eastern Ohio and western PA. I'm expecting this week's map to look different. I think there'll be a lot of areas put in the abnormally dry designation across our region. That's kind of a step below an official drought. You go from abnormally dry to a moderate drought. That's kind of how these things work. I expect to see some yellow showing up. My yard is already turning quite crispy, and I imagine yours is too, unless you've been diligent about watering it. We're going to need to keep watering things pretty religiously here over the next week or so at least. In the meantime, crystal clear sky up there tonight. Do a little stargazing, little checking out of the planets. We have the moon, which will become full during the upcoming weekend on Saturday, I believe. Right now it's 71% illuminated. In the evening, Venus very bright, Mars very bright as well, and both of those before midnight pretty much. After midnight for night owls or early morning risers before we get too much daylight with an early sunrise at 5:53 on Tuesday, you can check out Jupiter and Saturn as well. All right, we'll blitz through this pretty quickly the next few days because nothing's going to change really. That low pressure system that brought crummy and chilly weekend weather to the Carolinas, and even today was kind of showery in parts of the mid-Atlantic. That's still well off to our south and east tomorrow and into Wednesday, and our weather just remains benign as can be all the way through the day on Thursday. When's the next chance for some rain? I found the most optimistic model I could find. This is actually the kind of what we call the happy hour run of the GFS. The 18Z run, it's run in the middle of the afternoon. Well, it's kind of called the happy hour run. It's been kind of bullish on kind of almost like a backdoor front coming in out of Canada over the weekend. So specifically right around here on Saturday, it's been kind of bullish on this idea that there's some sort of front Saturday, maybe Saturday night, that might spark up a couple of showers. Other modeling has most of the activity well to our east. I'm not ready to buy this idea just yet, so our forecast remains a dry one, but it's a feature we'll keep an eye on. And then early next week, the European model actually looks way different than the GFS here. The European actually has low pressure, kind of making a weird westward jog and bringing us maybe some showers early next week, while the GFS says high pressure is almost right overhead. So it remains to be seen early next week, but we're going to continue carrying a dry forecast for the time being. There's an old saying, when in drought, leave it out. In other words, if it's a very questionable proposition whether we'll see rain on days 5, 6, 7, just leave it out instead of over-promising, if you will, precipitation when most places really could use some. So here's a look at the GFS rain totals over the next week, and thanks to that happy hour run being a little more optimistic with both shower chances on Saturday night, and then into maybe Monday, You see a little bit of green across Ohio, but this is probably about as optimistic as the forecast can get right now. Perhaps a more realistic expectation would be we just stay bone dry through Sunday and Monday. Temperatures will peak probably late this week and at the start of the weekend. Similar to today, temperatures may not quite be as warm as today over the next few days. Still well up into the 80s, but we might not see 87 at the airport again until Friday into Saturday. And then the heat just starts to gradually back off as we go into next week. This becomes gradually a less hot pattern. I don't think it's an excessively cool pattern or anything like that. It just becomes a little less hot, I think, as we head towards the middle of June. Hopefully that less hot pattern is also a somewhat more active pattern. I don't see a lot of signs that it's really, really active right now. So we might start, talking about, an official drought designation for our area as we head into June. And with El Nino coming on this summer in the Pacific, I am concerned about the summer as a whole, just being just a flat, dry summer. Of course, it's going to rain it from time to time, as it always does. But El Ninos tend to promote drier weather in the summer in eastern Ohio and western PA. And if we've already established a pretty dry pattern in late May, early June, that may not bode well for our summer season. That's it for me tonight on Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you same time, same place on Tuesday.